This is a very rare gameplay clip from the Doors developers I'm sure many of us have seen before. Although it is somewhat low quality, we can clearly make out what is going on here. After a player gets attacked by a giggle and launches it off their face, Figure runs over to the giggle before mercilessly stomping on it, shattering the entity into many different fragments. Let me just say, when I first saw this footage, I could not believe it. I thought this was fake and there was no way this could actually happen in-game. However, contrary to my initial thoughts, this is a real event that can happen indoors. And, contrary to what you may believe, it is actually one of the rarest things to occur in the game. In fact, this Easter egg is so rare that it's straight up impossible to encounter at all. Or is it? Well, it's complicated, and in this video we'll be diving into the story behind Figure squashing Giggle, one of the rarest and most impossible to witness Easter eggs in all of Doors. So, with all of that being said, let's begin. Alright. So, although that one video clip I showed is very popular, and I'm sure a lot of you had already seen it, it is actually the only piece of footage of this event happening. To my knowledge at least, I had never seen anyone recreate this moment in-game and record it, and there are actually two very good reasons for that. However, in order to understand why the figure-killing Giggle Easter egg is so rare, we need to understand how exactly it works. As you probably could tell, in order to get this to function, you need both Giggle and Figure present in the same room, a feat which, although sounds easy on paper, is incredibly difficult in practice. Currently, Giggles are unable to spawn in the same room as Figure does in the mines, and this means the only way to get them close enough together for the Easter egg to occur is if a Giggle spawns right near a doorway to one of Figure's rooms, and then you can launch the entity into the room after they attack you. Now, at least based on my experience, I've never gotten a Giggle spawn close enough to the doorway to allow this to happen, so this method in and of itself is incredibly hard to pull off. But even if you did hypothetically get a perfect Giggle spawn, there is another thing preventing this from happening. You see, given the set of unlikely circumstances that need to occur for this Easter egg to naturally happen, many players, including myself, had tried to brute force Figure squashing Giggle by spawning both entities in the same room by using the admin panel. However, even by attempting this, it still doesn't work. As coded, Figure is able to detect giggles that are thrown off of a player's face. They even run towards them. However, they won't actually stomp and crush them, which is the best part of this secret entity interaction. It is pretty funny, you have to admit. Now, unlike with the figure-killing dupe Easter egg, there is no underlying condition present in the naturally spawning entities that prevents Figure and Giggle spawned from the admin panel from interacting with each other. Meaning that the reason Figure doesn't squash Giggle is likely due to a bug, unfortunately. This means that it's very possible this Easter egg is actually not able to work, making it impossible to encounter at all, which means no matter how much you try, you can never get it to happen. Or is it? You see, although for almost all players trying to witness the Easter egg it just doesn't work, for one player, at least to my knowledge, it did. Yes, that's right, the bug preventing Figure from squashing Giggle actually can have a bug which reverts it. It's like a bug in a bug, it's crazy. Although, before I get into that, I want to talk about the past. Okay, so remember how I said that Giggles can't naturally spawn in the same room as Figure? Meaning you'd have to launch one in from an adjacent room? Well, this wasn't actually always the case. For the first 2 days of Floor 2's release, as I'm sure you are all aware, the game was actually a lot harder than it is currently, and part of that included the ability for Giggles to spawn in the same room as Figure. So, it is possible that during the first days of the Floor 2 update, players may have witnessed the Easter egg before it was bugged. But even then, besides the developer clip I showed earlier, there hasn't been any other footage that has surfaced of the event taking place. So, with all of that being said, what did I mean about Figure Squash and Giggle working for one player? Well, a while back I received a message from a player who provided a few images of Figure successfully squashing Giggle, meaning the Easter egg somehow worked for them. Now, unfortunately, although I did manage to save the images they sent me, I lost their original message and completely forgot their name, so I'm unable to credit whoever made this discovery. So, if whoever did send me this footage is watching this video, please let me know, as I'd love to give you the credit you deserve. So, with all of that out of the way, here are the images they provided. As you can clearly see, they show Figure stomping on a Giggle, as well as the remains of the Giggle after being crushed, both being evidence the Easter egg successfully worked. You may have also noticed that this all occurred in the hotel, meaning the entities were spawned by using the admin panel, also solidifying that it is possible without the use of naturally spawning entities, a trait not present in other Easter eggs, such as the figure-killing dupe one. So, although it is pretty much impossible for Figure to squash Giggle currently, there is a very rare chance the bug preventing the Easter egg from occurring can bug out itself, resulting in Figure successfully killing the Giggle. But, even with this knowledge, how rare is it for something like this to happen? Well, I myself, as well as others, have tried to recreate the moment using the admin panel several times. Too many to count, in fact, and the Easter egg has never successfully occurred. Additionally, these images are the only other footage I've ever seen of Figure squashing Giggle besides the original developer clip, meaning only 2 pieces of known evidence exist, implying this thing must be incredibly rare. Seeing how it should theoretically happen all of the time, yet a bug is preventing it from doing so, the chances of knowing how often the bug doesn't take effect are basically unknown, as well it's a bug, it's not intentional. However, given how the bug almost always never breaks, I think the probability that it will is very close to 0. So, to summarize, the Figure Squashing Giggle Easter egg is incredibly rare to encounter, not only because getting Giggle and Figure in the same room is incredibly difficult to pull off, but also because the entire event is bugged, so almost all of the time it just doesn't work. And this makes seeing it, even with things like the admin panel, quite a unique spectacle. I do hope eventually the developers fix the bug preventing this from happening, because it's such a cool Easter egg, and it is quite a shame how it's essentially physically impossible to witness nowadays. So, with all of that being said, let me know in the comments what you think of this Doors Easter egg, and thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.